back to Love Your Shelf. Today I am talking about the books I've read that start with C. So I've done A and B, and now we're going to get into C's so that we can go through all the books that I've read, or most of them, because, actually, the very first book on here today, I just finished, 2 days ago. And that book is Call Us What We Carry by Amanda Gorman, who is the person that did the inauguration for Joe Biden. She had a poem that she did called The Hill We Climbed, and her poetry book is outstanding. There's so many incredible intellectual things that she puts into the poems, and it's based around the pandemic, but also, it's based around the pandemic, but she also uses other things about the Spanish flu and other things that happened throughout history that's kind of similar to what we went through with COVID. And she has poems about the struggles that we went through in that. An incredible book. It's not long, 228 pages. She has a lot of really good poems in there, but she also has some very highly researched things that she talks about. So I would definitely recommend that. If you have, if you don't have time, make time. Figure it out. It's really good. She reads her own book, so if you do Libby or Audibles, you can do that, and it's 4 hours. So if you listen to things at times 2, it's 2 hours. That's a commute or whatever, So yeah, I definitely recommend it. The Cafe by the Sea, which is Muir #1. It's the first book to a book by Jenny Colgan, which is about essentially someone that's trying to escape the life that she's in right now and ends up falling in love and baking. That's really what happened and is going on. And I don't remember a lot of things about the book, but I did like it. I gave it 4 stars after I read it. I read it a long time ago. It's very Scottish based, I believe is the heritage for it, and it is very interesting. The Call of the Wild by Jack London I read because I love Parks and Rec, and Leslie Knope talks about Jack London a lot. She quotes him, and I was like, I really need to read a Jack London book. So I read Call of the Wild, and full disclosure, I did not love it. Catch-22, I read when I was younger, in high school, young. Someone recommended it, and I think if I reread it now, I would like it a lot more. It tried to be satirical, and a lot of it was lost on me in my teenage years, but I think it would be really fun to read now. It's kind of like MASH, essentially, and it's by Joseph Heller, and yeah, I might think about rereading that, actually. Then I have The K, which is a book that I read back in the day, but I still remember it. It's about a boy and a guy. They get shipwrecked, and this crazy storm is coming in, and it's essentially a survival book and what this guy did in order to save this child. Challenger Deep is such a hard read. It's by Neal Shusterman, which is the same person that wrote the Scythe trilogy / now 4 books. So the Scythe series, but it's about paranoia and mental paralysis and mental health, and it is very, very depressing because it's real. It's all of it is real, and it's about not knowing what's real and what's fake because of your mental health, and it follows a child who is living that, and it is very sad. It's powerful, but it's powerful in a way that it lets you know kind of what they're going through when people go through these sort of things, but it doesn't help as far as how to help with that, which sometimes just giving people the knowledge of what it's like can help, but reading about it isn't going to help 100%. You know what I mean? Change your questions, change your life. 10 powerful tools for life and work. So I read this for work actually, and it's pretty much about like asking open-ended questions and how important it is to make sure you're asking the right questions when you talk to people. Enough said. It is what it is. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, also I read when I was little. Changes for Kirsten, which is an American Girl story, also I read when I was little. And Charlotte's Web, I also read when I was little. And they're all okay for what they were. Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth, oh my gosh, is incredible. I loved this book. I love Veronica Roth. I have not read Carve the Mark yet and that series, but and Poster Girl, because Poster Girl just came out. But I do really enjoy her works. Chosen Ones is about these 5, I want to say it's 5. It might be 4. I want to say it's 5 though. People who are chosen to help the world fight this person who essentially will kill it. And there's a lot of stuff that goes with it. It talks about Mariana's Trench because that's where these like weird happenings are happening and how everything that goes through, because there's multiple universes. So multi-universes, check, it's there. Villains, check, it's there. Romance, check, it's there. Deaths, check, they're there. There's a lot of really good things. Political kind of is there, yeah, like how the world gets along with stuff like this. Magic, it's there. So yeah, it's really good. I recommend it a lot. Zombies, it's there. So there's a lot of things that check a lot of different boxes. Yeah, like it's weird because superhero stuff, how do you make that different? But I feel like Veronica Roth did this in Chosen Ones. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens is good. I did give it 3 stars. I read it in high school. It's not my favorite Christmas book, but it is good. It's my favorite Charles Dickens book that I've read, if that counts. Christmas in Paris. I read this in 2017. I don't remember it at all. Circe by Madeline Miller is really good. It follows Circe, which is a mythological character, and it kind of just talks to you about her romances and her being on the island, which she was expelled to for life, essentially, or exiled to. And it's really good. Like, Madeline Miller writes really well. She's very good at mythological retellings in her own way, and I appreciate that for what it is. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin is one of 2. So it's called The Great Cities, and I don't know how many there's going to be. So technically it should be under G. Maybe I'll talk about it when it's under G as well, because I will have read the second book by then, but I've only read The City We Became so far. And what I love about this book is that, first of all, it's a really cool concept. So it takes place in New York, and it's about the 5/6 boroughs of New York, all trying to keep their city and their boroughs from an evil that's trying to take it all over and change it all. And what I love about it is that each character is so diverse and they all bring something really interesting to the table. And so it's really cool because it talks about like gentrification, racism, rape, and knowing people that like literally there's a person whose father has laughed about rape victims before. So then when she unfortunately, like, thankfully escapes a situation that could have been not great. She like says that she would never tell her father because of the way he's acted with other people, which is so sad. Like, just the people were written so well, and the things that they stand for and their morals and their thoughts, I really enjoy. And it's very action packed. And it's just super original in my mind. The Client by John Grisham, I read when I was younger, and The Client is my favorite John Grisham book, and probably my favorite movie based on John Grisham. And I don't know, maybe John Grisham's basic, but I really liked The Client. So then I have the Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess, which is the Infernal Devices, but I'm going to talk about them now because they all start with C, and I love these books. So they're by Cassandra Clare. Just like no one does yearning like Cassandra Clare. Someone said that on a booktube, and I'm like, heck yeah, that's so true. Cassandra Clare does just great yearning, and she does have a love triangle with the three main characters that you follow throughout everything. Magnus Bane gets introduced here, which is one of my favorite characters, and it's still like the same, Shadowhunter realm, like City of Bones. Actually, I've never read City of Bones, but from what I've been told, yeah. It's so good. I love it. And the love triangle ends up good. So one of the things that I hate in love triangles is that there's always one person that's like, oh yeah, that person's definitely better for this person than the other. Sometimes they make the other person like kind of a douche, and you're like, dude, this isn't even a love triangle. You're just being a dumbass. And they don't do that. Like, both of these men are very good for the main character. And Cassandra Clare does do something in the end that makes it all worth it, kind of. I don't know. Anyway, Coffee Gives Me Superpowers, an illustrated book about the most awesome beverage on earth. I got that from my sister-in-law, and it's like this cute little 70-page book about how awesome coffee is, and I recommend it to everyone because coffee is my favorite thing and books are my favorite thing. So let's read a book about coffee. Heck yes. It's by Ryoko Iwata, and it's amazing. Come Fly the World, the jet age story of the women of Pan Am. So I thought this was going to be a lot more fun than it was, but it was definitely more educational. And I do appreciate that. It's legit the history of Pan Am and flight attendants, and a lot of stuff about the World Wars, Vietnam War, and what they've endured during that whole process. And it was actually really interesting. It wasn't what I thought I signed up for, so I was kind of disappointed in what it was, or in what it wasn't, but I wasn't disappointed in what it was because it actually was really good in education. Crazy Rich Asians, I've read the first book. I just read it. I haven't read the other ones. I really want to watch the movies, and I'm definitely a person that's like, but there are books, so I'm going to read those first. So I haven't watched the movies yet, and I love everyone that's in the movie, so I really want to watch it. So I read Crazy Rich Asians. One of my friends said it was really good, and actually it was really good. I don't know if it held my interest enough for me to read the second one, but it was still a really good story. Also, so the thing is that I did guess one of the plot twists, but that's because they had a way bigger plot twist I didn't see coming at the end. So that was cool. The Cricket in Times Square by George Selden is this cute little book I read when I was in like elementary school about a cricket and a cat. And I don't really remember any of it except that. And it's super cute. And yeah. Cultivate, a grace-filled guide to growing an intentional life by Laura Casey is about, so Laura Casey talks about cultivating and growing your own garden, metaphorically and literally. Like, she uses a lot of euphemisms specific to what she's learned in gardening and what that's meant for her life. And it was interesting and educational in a self-help sort of way, but it wasn't, it wasn't fascinating. It didn't bring anything new to the table per se, but it was good. The Curious Charms of Arthur Pepper is a kind of like Up, but kind of not. Like, his wife passed and she had a very interesting life prior to him, and he didn't know about any of it, and he learns about all of it after she's passed, and he's kind of sad that he feels like he kind of changed her in their marriage, but really he changed her for the better because she was doing all of those things, but she just loved being with him, and that was enough for her. And that's it. Those are the books I've read that start with C, which actually I feel like aren't as many books as normal. For A and B was a lot more. So if I was choosing, this is the first time I have had like no books that I hated were in here. But if I had to choose a least favorite, Call of the Wild by Jack London. I'm so sorry. And if I chose a favorite, it would be just the Clockwork Angel series. Infernal Devices. Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess. All of them are amazing. I did put that the second and third ones were 5 stars, and the first one was 4 stars for me. So if you do read the book and you're thinking like, this is a 3 or a 4, maybe you'll like the second and third ones better. Just FYI. So yeah, thank you so much for talking to me about books that start with C that I've read. What are some books that you've started with C that you've loved or hated? Let me know. Thank you so much for joining me on Love Your Shelf. I'm Tracy. Have a great day. Namaste.